basically now being forced to do the driving into this gap. Australia playing clever, they're sitting in at the moment. Likewise, France not doing too much work. Once Paladin's gone, to be honest, they've kind of run out of their helpers. Gasparini, Trinca, or Tincha, I should say. Paladin as well. They potentially are going to run out of resources as we dwell on the tea growing regions. I could do with a cup of tea myself, quite frankly. But yeah, tea culture in this part of the world is spectacular. We've already heard about the cafe culture, likewise as well. But the tea brought in as small plants, saplings you might say, in the 1930s, I believe, and indeed ever since then. Amazing. Well, she was able to ride it at her own pace. She didn't have the stress of being within the pack, which can indeed weigh you down just a little bit. She also got serviced, of course, by the UCI car, so she never had to take too much from anywhere else. Called for ice, got ice. So I guess in a certain sense, especially at the pace that she was going, that would have been training ride pace for many. But the average is picking up right now. We're going to nudge back over 36 kilometres an hour, but we're going to be nudging up towards 40 before you know it. Still with just under 70 Ks remaining. 28 seconds is the gap. Italy are indeed leading everybody else at the moment. So they've taken the burden, Brian. When did they realise, like the Netherlands, that you can't do this for the entire day?
Yeah, well, that's the mistake that they've done. It's the only one that they've done so far. They've been riding towards the front. They missed Shireen Van Androoy go across that gap. They should have had one rider with them. So they have to repair this damage. They don't want the Netherlands having that little bit of the upper hand, having one rider. Oh, okay, it's only 3 riders in front, and there's still a long way to go in this race, but it just means that the Dutch can just kind of mark out everybody here. I'm kind of surprised the Dutch aren't a little bit closer towards the front here. They're kind of sitting a little bit kind of further down in this group, so it just goes to show you how much Italy want this one. Yeah. And, you know, they've come up to the front because there's other teams. As I said, one of the main favourites today is Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. And, you know, the French have been riding well, but they haven't reacted to it, but the Italians have.
I think the French are riding very, very cleverly. Well, having won the Women's Tour de France and Paris-Roubaix, of course, Pauline Prévot, it could be very historic for her. Can you imagine an 11-year gap between world titles? That would be something absolutely outstanding, I've got to say. This is Paladin.
To be honest, I think that it's going to be a one big surprise, or it's still kind of unknown, just because what I saw is, okay, the juniors are racing aggressively every single time. The other categories, maybe they were a little bit more chilled at the beginning of the race. I think it's because of the temperature, because of the altitude. So yeah, I'm really curious to see, because it's like in some ways up to big teams like Holland, France and Italy to start the race. And yeah, I'm really curious. I think it's gonna be, realistically speaking, all about the last 3 laps.
You have the dream, that dream of the rainbow jerseys?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, to be honest, it's been so far such a great experience just being here. So yeah, rainbow jersey would feel like definitely unforgettable moment in my life.
And don't count her out. She's marked up as one of my 3 Uber outsiders here, and possibly deserves higher status than that. Kasia Niewiadoma. She suits this course, and don't forget, she's been on the podium before. She was bronze 4 years ago now. So yeah, that kind of wisdom with belief and not too many expectations. Sometimes operating out of the spotlight, Brian, can serve you well.
It certainly can, and I said if there's a course that kind of really suits Niewiadoma Finney, then it's definitely this. You know, she's coming into this 14th in the time trial, 5th in Stuttgart, never finished Romandy, which wasn't ideal. That was the only race, the stage race she rode after the Tour de France Femme, and where she finished 3rd overall. She was defending that title, of course, but definitely getting looked after towards the front in the red shorts here, and definitely, you know, one of the major contenders here.
Well, look how close to the front they are right now. Niewiadoma, she's got a teammate actually doing the driving. She's sitting in about wheel 6 as we stand. Australia also want to come and join the fun. Amanda Spratt, somebody else with a great deal of wisdom, 36 years of age. And sometimes wisdom counts for an awful lot, and Australia want to animate this. They've got company with Italy and Poland, and a big reach out by some of the nations who've been quiet so far. Switzerland suddenly respond as well. The alarm bells are going off, and this is strong, Brian, strong move.
Yeah, and just looking at when we turned that corner there, when Italy were doing the ride, and you know, they only get one rider up there, France coming up, and you know, a lot of damage has been done at the back of this group. But I tell you what, Shireen Van Androoy, she's looking super strong here. She's distanced the two other riders here. Really wants to put the pressure on the race.
She certainly does. Van der Velde, Van Arooy have seen off, I'm afraid, Carina Schrempf. Chapeau to her. Really, really brave ride, but I think her part out front has now come to a close because it's breaking down on the front of the peloton, and there are other teams now that want this. The Devil's distance remaining 6.6, and that always or often finds a few out, and Van der Velde's been shredded, and Van Arooy has gone up and alone off the climb here, and she might have company because there are other teams now that are starting to reach out. Alarm bells ringing, Brian. This is great.
Yeah, and you know, when you consider, you know, Australia coming here with a 5-rider team, and you know, they've started to kind of kick things off. So you know, it really is getting a little bit more animated at the front, and I think Van Arooy has decided that, you know, she's not going to hang around. She's not going to wait, you know, for the company. She wants to make this race hard, and this is clear that. When Van Arooy came across this gap, she made business, and she's still holding on to 20 seconds. She wants to give the upper hand to the team of the Netherlands.
She certainly does. Well, and it's worked because there are others trying to put the fire out there, having to be neutralised. Italy doing a lot of work. If they can't get somebody up the road, and a little bit of shoulderage as well. I'm coming through whether you like it or not, says Magdalene Valerier of Canada. Super strong rider. Certainly want to watch Marta Lach up towards the front as well. It is starting to happen. I think we're going to see the Volcanoes National Park and the big gorilla memorial here. Not memorial, but a gorilla statue. Yeah, silverback. I've got a silver top next to me, to be honest, in the form of Mr. Bryce Smithy, and in fact, look, he's got a microphone, just like you, Brian. Maybe not. We'll cheer him up, don't worry. Meanwhile, here is Schrempf. Well, thank you, Carina. That was a very brave ride, and look at the peloton. It is absolutely shredded.
Yeah, no, well done. No, it wasn't going to be the Olympic road race in Beijing all over again, although there were some similarities when she first went. But Italy really under a little bit of pressure. They rode on the front. They kind of disappeared a little bit, snatching at bottles now as they're trying to bring back Van Arooy, and they're not really making any inroads at all. I think it was the Australians that really kind of took it to them there, and I do believe it was for Australia there, Amanda Spratt that was getting a little bit animated there towards the front. But when you consider that Italy have been riding for the last few kilometres and not making any inroads at all to Van Arooy.
No, they're not. Well, here we are, the mounted gorillas in the Volcanoes National Park. These magnificent creatures have found themselves a haven and have absolutely thrived. A huge population which was diminished, but now has gone beyond stabilisation and is now, of course, starting to thrive in this protected environment. And of course, you can visit them by indeed coming to Rwanda and taking a guide and heading off into the Volcanoes National Park. Absolutely exceptionally beautiful. Well, so it's been all of the racing here at the Worlds. Just something more than to ponder, but to appreciate. And well, you take your entertainment wherever you can find it, and we've got plenty going on here not just at the waterhole, but of course elsewhere on the road. And right now it's fantastic because Shirin van Rooij has kicked over a hornet's nest, and here indeed come the stingers. Let's see what sort of missile can get off and up the road. We're starting to see gaps here, and everyone's now believing in this. Some riders that we haven't seen hide nor hair of suddenly appearing, Brian. It's business end of the day. Nima Fisher-Black, Ella Wiley as well for New Zealand. They also as part of this vanguard, and here we go, we're racing.
Yeah, Italy really taking this one on from the front, and they are being put under a lot of pressure now just because of this rider here, the 23-year-old Dutch rider, and she's ridden a couple of the Grand Tours this year, 11th in the Giro d'Italia, 36th in the Tour de France. Clearly got good legs because she went across that gap very, very quickly to the leaders. Went on to the golf climb, rode away with them from them, and still 25 seconds in front of Van de Velde, the Belgian. But she's clearly
Bryce Smithy, if you're looking for him, B-R-I-S-M-I-T-H-Y, and we'll have your thoughts. But Van der Velde at the moment on to the cobbles first, the cleanest entree. It won't be long before the pack comes through, and here they are, and wow, has that thinned down. Probably 35 riders only, and being optimistic there, we've shred an awful lot and there'll be more to go. This is going to get very selective, and it might be now, Brian.
Yeah, Germany now coming to the front, Swiss there. Of course, now the jerseys of the Dutch, some of the riders now trying to come back. So we did have about 30 odd riders. We got another group of almost 20 riders now trying to come back, but it definitely is kicking off, and this does look as if this could be the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me one little bit. Marieke Meert here for Belgium done job in the support of Julie van der Velde, but particularly Van Pechtenbecker. Margot, she is here for Belgium, and they've kept themselves very quiet. Big Belgian flags on display here, and part of that hub. This is Van der Velde, one of the animators, allowing the aforementioned Margot to keep her powder dry within this group. Van der Velde, the first of the big names, I guess you might say, to go up the road, and others just starting to find these cobbles something of a challenge. Olivier Baril is still there, but oh my life, how tough has this day been for some others. Maud Leroux for South Africa was one of those struggling. Meanwhile, Rooij is right here, looks over her shoulder. This is not the ultimate battle plan, but it's a great first marker to be thrown up the road by the Netherlands.
Oh, she's looking strong, Shirin van Rooij from the Netherlands, and just look to see where the Italians have gone. They came up in numbers towards the front. Even in the climb up by the golf course there, they brought it back to about 20 odd seconds. Okay, we had an attack from, I think it was Amanda Spratt from the Australian national team, but it's kicked back, and yeah, I think for the Italians, they were the ones that reacted first and foremost, but this gap starting to creep up a little bit. 31 seconds. Not a huge danger on her own, but now that the Netherlands have got a rider in front, all they have to do is follow.
Well, what a luxury, I think you might say, but don't sit on the cushion, as they say, because you just, quite frankly, don't know how much effort you're going to have to put in later on, but sometimes it's worth investing right now, and that's what Van Rooij is thinking. And there's a bit of a stall back here. 33 seconds is the advantage he has.
Yeah, Van Rooij doing a really good job here. I said no major reaction. One Italian rider at the front, another just starting to come up. They are a little bit kind of fits and starts, try to get organised, and then they kind of disappear a little bit, but they have shown that they don't want this situation. They don't want Van Anrooy at front. Okay, she's on her own. It's very difficult when you are on your own to stay away, but she's making a good fist of this, the 23-year-old.
Certainly is. Spain, we haven't mentioned too much about, but great experience with Anne San Esteban. We also have Mavi Garcia, who's 10th in Glasgow, don't forget. Maria Benito, very much a dark horse for today, but others can shine here. Fisher Black for New Zealand in a very good position. Also looking here, Gina Calori for Switzerland, getting herself into position. Yara Castelline, who did a lot of the early driving and moderating, now finds herself just a little bit second hand. No surprise there. And guess what? Urska Ziegert. It's a fantastic colour, the Slovenian national kit in that green. We've got the green bookending either side of the front row almost, with of course others very much involved, with Ashley Moolman of South Africa on the other side, tight on the barriers. Great wisdom for her, and indeed moderating her pace, just keeping something back and waiting to pour it on. So am I for the final 3 laps. Next time by our start-finish line, actually the time after, the 8th passage, we're just about to cross it for the 7th time, but in another lap, I see there being a very different complexion, Brian, because I think that's winnable from that distance.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet. We've seen it from 36 kilometres to go in the junior race. I still think this... We heard from a couple of the riders there, and kind of half expecting maybe the last 3 laps. I think it's going to be the last 2 laps here. This is just a chase, and I think it's Malcotti. It's on the front for the Italians here. This is because Van Anrooy is in front. They don't want the Dutch to have a rider in front. That was probably what everybody said in the meeting this morning. Do not allow the Netherlands to get the upper hand. Well, there's not a lot they could have done. They made a mistake in trying to retrieve it now.
They certainly are. And right now you're watching Shirin Van Anrooy, and only 23 years of age. She was runner-up in the Droit d'Or, by the way, last year. Won the Alfredo Binda a couple of years ago, and everyone went, really? Yeah, better believe it, seniors race. And right now, this is a proper grown-up performance that she's producing for us right now. Amstel Gold Race, finished on the podium there. Likewise, the Het Nieuwsblad, in fact, just off the podium there. But 5th in the Vuelta Burgos last year as well. She's an extraordinarily strong rider. I mean, to have somebody like that declared a support rider, just missed out, don't forget, in the Nationals when it came to the time trial. But she is a great time trialist and can, as we're witnessing right now, dig very, very deep. She was up there in the mountains competition, the Tour de France, likewise, which is always somebody from a breakaway, it seems. And that's the position she's in right now. Grab a bottle if you possibly can. They're slamming into the hands here, as you can see. Everybody needing sustenance wherever they can get it in this beautiful green and verdant land. It's green, Brian, because there's a lot of rain here, but thankfully we had a little sprinkling earlier on, but it's abated.
Yeah, a few just taking the time to bathe themselves. Well, no chance for Shirin Van Anrooy today.
Let's have a look at the lap time, shall we? 23:49. We're getting there, aren't we, Brian?
Yeah, that's more like it now. And still hanging out there, it was Trinca Colonel and Malcotti for the Italian team that were leading the group over the finishing line there. 44 riders in that bunch behind now.
Get ready. This is a pinch point, 16 seconds later. This is one of the bouncers that we worry about, possibly one of the most focused turns. Thankfully, it's thinned down just a little bit. 16 seconds is a bridgeable margin, but the pack are going to come through that same corner in a few moments' time. And then, of course, every single one of the tight corners here either introduce you to a climb or indeed one of our fast descents, Brian.
It is, and this is probably the easiest part of the circuit that we've got, because the 2 climbs come in quick succession, which kind of magnify them. But still holding on to 14 seconds. Italy still leading the way. A depleted peloton. We started today with 104 and we've got 44 riders left in that peloton behind.
I'm actually wondering whether Royakkers, is the best climber, I think, of the Netherlands crew. Not taking anything away from Van der Breggen or indeed Demi Vollering, but Royakkers, she's got to believe that she's got a big chance here, and she's within this pack as well. And your climbing ability, I think it gets magnified the more and more I see of this course, and the deeper you get into the race, especially as the pace is picking up right now at the end. Every single one of these climbs becomes nearer, if you will, in terms of temptation to the specialists.
Yeah, I still think this course is suiting, obviously a rider that can climb, but a kind of punchy rider as well. Yep. But definitely there's a few. Look, we've not even kind of mentioned too much Chloe Dijgaard. I know that her teammate was dropped not that long ago for the USA, but she's still in here. She's strong enough, even for the Swiss. They're still here, and they're still here in numbers, and they definitely have a big opportunity with Marlene Russer after a victory in the time trial. But the pressure seems to be on the Italians. So they're taking the pressure on to bring Van Ayenrooy back. Every other team, our nation, is kind of sitting back and allowing them to do it, but they will take advantage.
It's only 9 seconds, but it's not for the Netherlands to chase, it's for everybody else. And the reason it's been pared back is because others have had to fall onto that duty. Italy have done a lot. Germany's starting to join the fray here. France have kept themselves very quiet. They've ridden clever, Brian.
They have. They were riding towards the front, just keeping out of trouble. But they still have. I would say most of the major contenders are still in the race now, and I think Italy have now been on retrieval duties, and they've been successful, but others will take advantage.
Some of the general animators, whenever there's a point that needs to be acted upon, Spain are happy to do it. Switzerland want to get involved as well, and suddenly, well, we said maybe with 3 laps to go, next time by that will be the case. Next time at the start-finish line, but it's already happening. 3.5 laps out. Proper animation this time by. Now this one, do they mean business? Yes. Quick check over the shoulder here from Mariela Benito, the 28-year-old. There you are, you see a record at the Nationals. Clever rider. Something of a dark horse, Benito. If she's ever going to have success, it has to be from a breakaway, but she's up there. Tritcha, one of those who's been doing the driving. Well, she's got gels for the picnic that she's going to allow herself if indeed she can't keep up, and at the moment she's almost pedaling squares. There's a lot of fatigue starting to wash over the peloton right now, which is suddenly cracked. There's about 15 riders only as it splits in half. Now, as we come down for this long descent, there's a little hump, then we go into an even more focused descent, short but sharp, and then we start climbing again. This is how this day is going to be reckoned, I'm afraid. You look further back, it's going to be one of attrition, Brian.
It is. I'm just looking at the amount of blue jerseys that are left, because that did pay for the Italian team. They brought it back together, but unfortunately, like I said, for them, other teams will take advantage, and they've only got, 2 riders, the Italians, left now? Maybe 3 riders maximum, but yeah, the tide has turned a little bit. Even the Netherlands have missed out on this. We just talked about the Swiss team. Naomi Rook here riding, but they have Russer, who's on tremendous form and can definitely be a contender in this one. So just when we saw the little bit of a battle between the Netherlands and of course the Italians, now Switzerland and Spain taking advantage.
Well, and Naomi Rook, she took a bronze in the mixed relay here. She started the season with a bang by winning the Santos Tour Down Under, normally accomplished. I mean, talk about bookending the season brilliantly so. She was also on the podium in this year's Milano San Remo, don't forget. And if you ever want a bitey course that could potentially mirror the way that that race indeed pans out, the most difficult part is, of course, at the pointy end. She does a great job. She also was a podium in the Cadel Evans road race one. favourite cyclist of all time. I know. There you go. If you're watching Cadell, good night, mate. 54.6 kilometres from home, and they're mixing it, folding over with a bit of magic. Sara Martin now of Spain, just getting up to the front. This will be to mark out anybody who is pesky enough to try and get into that gap. Caroline Andersson of Sweden as well has kept herself nice and quiet today. Bouncing at the back, this is Aroy, who was up the road a little bit earlier on. And in fact, as you look to the Netherlands team on the right-hand side of the road, it is Royakkers, number 8, who's the best climber amongst them. She's gone into helping duties and possibly marking out duties as well, depending on what happens on the next climb. Here we go then, 26 seconds for this leading pair, Roig and Benito. How deep can they go, Brian?
Well, they're giving it a good go, and as you've already said, a couple of good riders here. I was just counting the riders that were left. Looked like the Netherlands had 5 riders. I did see only 2 Italian riders in there, and that was Longo Borghini and Malcotti, although one rider has made it back. She was dropped. She's come to the front again to try and kind of help out, but this is a very small group with now teams or nations with limited numbers now.
Stall in the chase with a 34 second gap. I've been watching that clock climb spectacularly so, as the hunger to close the gap seems to have ebbed. You know, Blanca Vas is still here for Hungary.
Yeah, there's a lot of good riders still in here. It's the French now have taken this on. I still believe that Pauline Prevot is the favourite for this race. They still have numbers, just like the orange jerseys of the Netherlands, but I think this next climb, the climb after the golf course here, could be quite significant.
Well, they've got to take care because there's a duo up front, not a solo. We saw going from 36 kilometres out in the men's junior race, and all of a sudden, well, sometimes you have to dig or drink deep from the pond, and indeed Kerbal has gone for it. Right, this is an offering. Let's see if anyone indeed will sacrifice themselves, and it's Royak as the best climber here, who is now just starting to head off up the road, marked out by Italy. Switzerland are trying to be disruptors because they have, of course, Roig up the road. Looking further back, Australia, you know, they've been super clever today. Haven't really spoken about Australia too much. Amanda Spratt, Brodie Chapman, you know, they have proper firepower there with good support from Hanson Manley and Rossman Gannon. Yeah, Australia playing it clever. Cedrine Gerbayol, a 24-year-old. Well, she starts to waver just a little bit. It holds at 31 seconds to Switzerland and Spain up the road. And everyone else thinking, well, is it now? Is it now? Is it now? These questions are being asked very quickly, and you've got to have an answer. If indeed this pairing have got a drive, and I think they possibly have. They certainly believe this is worth doing, Brian.
Yeah, I was interested to see that France came up to the front and started riding, and Kerbal came up and said, no, we don't ride, we try and attack. And you know, they didn't want to do what the Italians did, because after what the Italians have done riding on the front, they only have 3 riders left. That's it. So they've lost, you know, 4 riders this race already. I know that we've got a very small group here, but there's a lot of riders in here just sitting and waiting and watching the other stronger teams, you know, beat each other up and might take advantage. And for the 2 riders in front, Naomi Rook and Benito, you know, for Spain and Switzerland to be in this position is good, because they know that they've got a representative in the front, and then it's up to the French, the Dutch, the Italians to try and close this gap. And just look at it, it's locked down at the moment.
It is. Now, is this a struggle for Demi Vollering? I don't know. And I think even the greats are going to find themselves asking themselves some questions on a day like this. Royakkers is still the healthiest of the Netherlands riders, especially when we get to the climbs, and that is almost the definition of what we have to deal with. Here is Kimberly Lecourt of Mauritius. hard to get a reading on a rider's demeanour, but still within that front group, which is thinning down with every single lap. Now, we thought there's a potential, some thought there was a potential to go from 3 laps out. This is that margin now, just about. It's a tough day. It was never designed to be easy, the World Championships, but this one has been one of the hardest.
Yeah, I think it was already up there and was always going to be the hardest. I think the question is now, and the 42 seconds, I don't think this is the winning move, but there is certainly a little bit of concern, and the French were the first to react, and you can see Kerbeau come up and said, no, we don't ride, we try and attack. We don't want to do what the Italians did. Fisher Black is straight on this one, and we just started to see her for the first time in the black there for New Zealand. So there's still a sizable group here. The Dutch, well, they've not reacted too much at the moment. They were on the front group when Van Anrooy was in front, but now it's up to the French, and they've now committed a rider towards the front now.
It is just coming up to 30 seconds. In fact, it's going the other way, 28 down from that march, and here we are. Well, I said that sometimes you've got to factor in when you can go for it, and Femke de Vries now, I think this is possibly the end of her contribution. We'll see if she manages to regather herself. But some decent riders are being found out. No shame in it because of the toughness of the day and the course. It's very interesting to see who's struggling, Brian.
Yeah, it is, and De Vries had been doing a little bit of attacking before in the last few laps.
That looked like a lack of cohesion, and some words have been exchanged. Fisher Black has said, I'm out of here. I'm going to go and try and join the party up front, and if others come and join me, they can light a few candles.
Yeah, Naim Fisher Black, very good rider, the Kiwi rider. They've got 2 riders here, and I'm just a little bit surprised that the Dutch team here, they do have numbers. The French trying to come across to this one. I thought Naim Fisher Black would probably wait a little bit longer and then trying to do it, but you have to be in the race to have that feeling, and seeing Switzerland and Spain going down the road, and then the kind of staring out between the French, the Italians, and of course the Dutch riders. You try and take advantage, but yeah, definitely heating up. 50 kilometres to go, and 2 riders in front, only 23 seconds though.
Big close downs, another of these pesky corners. A little bit of dampness here as well. Looks like we've had a shower through just on this part of the course, and time for this pair to kind of bury the hatchet, really, because they're clearly not working at their most effective. Mario Benito asking a couple of questions of Roig a few moments ago. Maybe Roig is not using the excuse of not being the battle plan. Marlene Reusser is indeed the Swiss choice, but Elise Chabet as well, I think, possible for a top 10. Reusser is the time trialist as part of this group as well. In fact, I haven't seen her for a while, so I'm assuming that Chabet is the excuse that Roig is using not to dig as deep as she possibly can. In fact, Lechty is here as well. Lechty. Yeah. Gosh, plenty of options for Switzerland, I've got to say. And in fact, that's a nation that's remained a little bit quiet so far. 22 seconds. Holding station out front, it was up to 40 seconds. Not quite there just yet. Meanwhile, we look down at this group of riders, and we start to ponder. Kalori here for Switzerland as well. They're strongly represented, albeit disparate and sort of spread around this front group. And Australia now taking on the drive.
Yeah, I'm not too sure if it's a drive or not. It's kind of bunched up at the back here. Just maybe not. Still numbers here of the Dutch, and I think it's up to them, possibly in the French as well, who seem to have numbers. But yeah, let's see how this develops. But definitely Naomi Rugen and Benito doing a good job at the front, just kind of hanging out there. But I think this race definitely not over for the moment anyway. 48 kilometres to go. When we come up to the finishing line, there'll be 3 laps to go, and I think that's when we'll start to see, you know, the real battle commence.
One of the highest speed parts of our circuit. You're looking at it right now. The average pace has picked up. We'll get a new definitive as to how quick this lap was in a short while. Barriers waiting to welcome you. Deliberately going wide there was Benito to force Rug to come through and do some work. Clearly an argument about work rate within the pairing up front. Always difficult when there's 2 of you, Brian. There's always going to be somebody who's stronger and somebody with an excuse.
And fatigue, tiredness comes into play as well.
Exactly.
And you know, this distance out as well, and like you say, only 2 riders. But let's see. As you said, the Hungarian Vas, who was on the attack, she comes into that corner in 3rd place. But this will be testing now, because I think we may see a reaction on this cobbled climb this time.
Well, Loretta Hansen is there for Australia, and Amanda Spratt likewise. Well, we had a shrimp up the road. What about Spratt? Let's see. Can't wait. They're spread wide across the road. It looks like mark-out time still. Given what Spain have done so many times, they do it on the track as well, I've got to say. They're quite happy on some of the points races, for example, just leave the pack behind in a velodrome, and sometimes it seems to be that's the mentality of Spain. They just love getting involved in the action. They've got a rider up front, of course, in Benito.
Yeah, and they've had success at these championships as well.
With that battle plan,
yeah. Well, you can see the Swiss on the left-hand side. Well, they're quite happy with this situation. They're happy that Ruig is in front. The Italians, well, they have been doing a lot of riding. Now that they've depleted in numbers, the Germans are up towards the front. I really expected to see something a little bit more from the Dutch riders. They might be waiting until get a little bit kind of further up. It's locked down for the moment, but it's only 30 seconds.
What about Germany? Lina Lippert, 4th on 2 occasions. Niedermeyer as well went strongly in Glasgow, and Koch, well, she was part of, I think, breakaway plans for Germany at the beginning of this one, but hasn't had an opportunity yet. It might yet still reveal itself. Just looking at the chains getting very animated here, courtesy of the uneven surface. We've seen chains thrown, haven't we?
Yeah, a couple of times, but different contrasting styles there, with Benito pedalling with a higher cadence and Naomi Ruig going with a little bit more of a kind of powerful display up this cobbled climb.
Well, Elise Chabet is here at the front of proceedings for Switzerland. Meanwhile, Roy Jacker is at the back on the climb here, after having done a lot of for the Netherlands there in the bright orange, number 8, having done a lot of work earlier on. That's Hong Kong's Wing Yi-Jung. Brilliant work by the Hong Kong rider to be this race, still part of the front group.
Yeah, just going to hang on the back. Something had to change here, and I thought it would be maybe the Netherlands, but it's now the French. So we've seen the previous laps had been kind of dominated by the Italians. They missed out, and Van Anrooy had to chase her down, and now with Switzerland and Spain in front, it's now the team of France that have decided that they want to take this race on. They do have numbers in this group, but the Italians fell foul and have only got 3 at the moment in this kind of chase group. But yeah, you can see the contrast in style here between Benito and Ruig. Ruig powering her way up this climb.
Well, Benito a little bit more upright. Ruig means business here. No love lost between the pair of them. And look at all of the motorcycles actually trapped within the gap here. That's 27 seconds. They'll have to clear that, and they will do in a short while. They just round and give themselves a sight of the Flamme Rouge, and storm clouds up ahead. We've got sunshine where we are, rain in the region. And here comes the peloton with the peloton wrap from the finish line. Love the atmosphere here. It's one of the fan zones, as you can hear. There's a big screen behind them as well. There's the Flamme Rouge, a little bit of respite. They have to pick it up and start digging in once again, and they just come up over that lovely sort of roller coaster series of humps just around about the Flamme Rouge, which introduces to a sequence of little dishes which they have to deal with into and back out of them. 25 seconds is the gap now, with just over 45 kilometers from home. Brian, we're at the magic 3 laps to go marker.
Yeah, I still think it'll be another lap before we see the real contenders start to kind of feature towards the front, but it's definitely kind of warming up a lot.
Brodie Chapman, come on, get back in. Gosh, it's a tough game this we play, Brian.
Yeah, if you're getting distance now, it's going to be very difficult to get back to the front of the race, because the race is definitely on. The chase down for these two riders here. You can clearly see that Ruig is the stronger rider at the front. The peloton are coming. You know, they're closing this gap behind. Of course, the Swiss are happy with this situation, and you know, they're trying to kind of block things down at the back. But yeah, we're coming across the line. 3 laps to go. It's starting to hot up.
Certainly is. 3 hours and 23 minutes in the saddle, and we still have the none too small matter of 45 kilometers to go. We've got about an hour and a half of racing left, and they better start working together. Somebody's going to get worked over, and guess who's dead center of the road? Absolutely remarkable. Ziga has ridden so cleverly today. She's paced herself brilliantly. She spoke to us at the beginning of the day and said that that's precisely what you have to do, especially if you're on your own. Well, she's got company now in Ashley Moolman from South Africa, the veteran, 38 years of age, so it's a green front to the chase at the moment. Ashley Moolman, top 20 on every single occasion she's taken part in the Worlds, and that's been numerous. 38 years of age now. How many Worlds has she done, Brian? It's a lot.
15.
Wow. What experience is that?
Yeah, no, incredible. Just looking to see there's now 34 riders in this main peloton now, and still a lot of riders that we haven't kind of really mentioned, just sitting there patiently waiting for this race to unfold. But just looking down the line there, we've got Ashley Millman, Ziegard, Marcus, Kaluri, Valeris, Koch, Van Anrooy, Van de Breggen, Labus, Spratt, Nieuwen, Domo, Ferran Prevot, Garcia, Niedermayer, Dijgaard, Longo, Bergini, Malcotti, Vollering, Lippert, Chabet, Russer. They're all the major contenders are still in this main group.
Well, it's starting to kick off, and Australia have decided to leave the party, quite frankly. Yeah, great to see. Well, we did say Setta's about to catch a fish. Maybe she could land the big one. Let's wait and see. And Nieuwe as well, kind of lurking at the front, waiting to go. And here go the markouts. This wouldn't surprise me if it's Ruijaka's. Let's see in a few moments' time. She was just hanging off the back. I think, in fact, I'm looking bottom of your screen. I think Ruijaka's has just taken a toot on a bottle. So the Netherlands still very much all together. But Amanda Spratt on the attack. This is great to see. Couple of podiums in the Worlds, 2018, 2019 as well, so there's been a bit of a gap. Veteran status now, 36 years of age, but sometimes a circuit such as this, wisdom counts for a big percentage of your potential success.
I tell you what, this stage, this part of the circuit, I've seen it in a couple of races already. It's quite a good position of the course to go on the attack. Of course, most people, and I've said it a couple of times today, that this is probably the easiest part of the course, but everybody's thinking, right, this is time where I can relax a little bit, and sometimes that's a good time to go on the attack and try and gain a little bit of time, and this is what Amanda Spratt's trying to do here.
Do you know the great Terry Reimer, who was an endurance motorcyclist, won the Bol d'Or 7 times? Phenomenal. I once said to him, how do you just keep winning? and he said, by making the easy bits hard.
Yeah.
And that should be a t-shirt, Brian. Make the easy bits hard and gain the success. When everyone else is switched off, switch on.
Yeah,
Go.
no, exactly. It's everybody's thinking, well, I can relax a little bit. Amanda Spratt decided, no, you're not relaxing, and that was the fastest lap of the race so far.
There we go. Make the easy bits hard, and Spratt has done exactly that, has demanded answers from those to whom she has asked the question. And at the moment, it's France that's responding. Switzerland, very effective, still look strong. They've been there when it's mattered, but haven't emptied themselves. And I think that is a very, very strong way to be. Just looking further back here, and Ferrand Prévot, there she is, number 25, with possibly the neatest look to her as well. Looks unhurried, Brian, unhassled. And that's a very strange thing today. Here she is.
Well, this is the way to ride. Just relax. Don't get involved. And I think for Pauline Ferrand Prévot, it will be a last lapper. I think that's what we should be counting on. That let them knock lumps to each other. And of course, the onus is in them a little bit. That's why they're starting to ride on the fronts.
Well, she had a long chat there with Juliette Labousse, who is a great climber. So she will be essentially the climbing guard for Pauline Ferrand Prévot. So whatever their plan is, you can see that it's going to be a Labousse leading in Ferrand Prévot, you can be sure of. Kerbayol, who's a great time trialist, as you well know, will also be somebody who will set the pace before Labousse goes on the climb, possibly the final time of asking, as Brian said. And then Ferrand Prévot winning. Is that what your crystal ball is telling you, Brian?
Well, it does look as if patience is going to be a virtue in this one, but it really depends on what unfolds in front. And I think France have got enough riders here, and I do believe that winning move could come in the run up towards the finishing line. It could be a late one, but it really depends on these riders. Marlene Russa here, very strong time trialist, as we already know, already a gold medalist here at the championships. But you can look at them in the group here, that they're riding off the back of France now, because France have decided that after Italy they want to control the latter part of this race.
Look at the pace down here. Now then, you're looking at the leads of the race. They have a 32-second margin, and they're still making a good fist of this. We're just getting into the range of being able to do something on your own. And guess what? Vas is going again. Well, she asked the questions, and the Germans respond after saying, Vas? Vas? Yes. And indeed, they want to make sure that this doesn't run away from them. Switzerland, in fact, it is, that have just embedded in here. They've got Rug up the road, but why not latch on and indeed let Vas do a little bit of work? You've got an excuse as well, not potentially to fully engage. Let's see. Spratt has been taken by the peloton, and meanwhile, Chase is back on up front. Still they wait back here, and some nerves as well. Every time you see two riders go up the road, especially with that strength and determination, Brian, you've got to be asking yourself, what on earth's going on? How do we deal with this? And look at the questions. They're already talking within the Netherlands team. That was Vollering talking to Royakkers. Again, just as Labousse was being spoken to by Ferrand Prévot, Labousse being the climber, Royakkers being spoken to here by Vollering. I think it's the same conversation. When do we go? You lead me out. Here we go. Look at that corner here. Vas sails in. Lichty stays with it. The pair of them are fully committed. This is Blanca Vas thinking, all right, I went earlier. I know what this course is like. I know that I've got something on board. She took a stage of the Tour de France, don't forget. That was in 2024 and 23, I beg your pardon. It was the Cesare stage, and if you have a look at that and the profile of it, it was pretty much the same as today. Lumpy quick day. That's exactly what we've got, and Blanca Vas will be thinking, can I? Should I? Will I? Which took a stage on the Giro, of course, Tour de Swiss women as well, the Romandie. 6 times a road race champion in Hungary. No other rider made the trip. She says, I want to go. And right now, she is going for it. She wants to get over to this pair, and that's fantastic. They've already found that chase with Vas. What, 14, 15 seconds on the peloton? This is brilliant. So it's getting as animated as we'd hoped, Brian.
Yeah, it definitely is. And, we still have, quite a few numbers of quite a few of the kind of stronger nations. I think we've got 5, Marcus Ruijacus, Androy van der Breggen and Vollering of the Dutch team still left here.
Well, the temptation is too much and France just can't bear it any longer. They need somebody to mark out, and this draws a response from the Netherlands. Of course it does. Won't be surprised if that's Ruijacus herself, but I think she's too valuable. This is likely to be, could it be van der Breggen herself? This is KWIYO of France, who goes off up the road. She's the time trialist. This was the setup I was telling you about, so she's trying to engage in that role. So France's battle plan is already on the table. Who else is going to play their cards? Bit of a flick out of the elbow here, and Rug comes through with Benito. Just now will go solidly on her wheel. A chord has been settled between this pair. They now are going for it because we've got a bridgeable distance now. 38 kilometres from home. We saw it in the men's juniors. There's no reason why, indeed, those with a lot more experience can make it stick from here. The trouble is the peloton itself also knows and has its own wisdom. Here's Vas in the chase with Lichty, getting no help from Lichty because Rug is up front, so 2 from Switzerland. There's the peloton behind. I think that is Ukraine with Kuskova that is within this group as well. It is. Germany doing the policing. 41 seconds the peloton, and here are the Netherlands just like cruising up. Yes, cue the Jaws music, as they say. This is Ruijacus back here, good climber, but out of position at the moment. Anderson of Sweden also just stretching her legs. Likewise for Canada, Valliere, who I said is one of the absolute best of the outsiders here, that might be a dark horse and outside hope for Canada, is also in the vanguard. There she is, just bouncing at the back. Both the Norwegian riders are still very much in the game here, which bodes very well for Allerud. This course suits her very much so, and Ukset, who is definitely a punchy rider, can garner a top 20, but she'll be hoping for more than that in this group right now. Brian, the prizes are on the table. Who's going to open the boxes?
Well, I was just counting the numbers there. We get 37 riders in the front of the race from the 3 groups here, spread over 51 seconds. We've got 5 riders from the Netherlands, 5 riders from the team of France, all three riders still in here for Germany, but more importantly, the Swiss still started with 5. I've got 5 riders still in contention at the front of the race, but the French have taken it on. They have got Ferrand, Prévost, Carbeau, Labus, Lynette and Music. So they've still got 5 riders, and they want to control things just like the Italians did before. But the Italians started with 7, but they only have Longo Borghini and Malcotti left in this group.
Yep, it's been a fry-up. 14%. These are the steepest gradients that we have on the course. Bit of dispatch here from Rug. Doesn't want the weight of the bottle. You saw it still had fluid within it. She'll take another one once we get over the top, and Benito's starting to struggle here. That is a rider in pain. Meanwhile, Vas has now got help from Lichty, which means that Switzerland believe having 2 up front is better than 1, and France light up. Italy, I think, are bailing, potentially a sinking ship here, and this is fabulous. France are asking a big question. Who's going to make the answer?
Yeah, this is a big question, and that means that France want to really put pressure on the Netherlands. The Swiss are in the front foot here. They've got 2 riders at the front of the race, and you have to ask Lichty, why she's starting to ride. Well, why not? She's got Ruig in front with Benito, but there's only a matter of 15 seconds. Just as I was saying that you know, France at numbers, they're starting to drop off now. So 26 here is Kerboul, who's done a bit of riding, but you have to ask the question of the Netherlands here, because Anna van der Breggen at the back, Demi Vollering is a little bit further up, but just kind of hanging in the back there. You've got Roejakers as well, so you know they're a team that started to instigate, tried to push the jabs, but are sitting back for the moment.
Meanwhile, you're looking at Jasmin Lichty with Blanca Vas, and now a gap. And here we are. Here are your answers coming through right now. This is Barbara Malacotti, who is just drifting up on the left-hand side. Not a bad climber, but options are disappearing big time for Longo Borghini in terms of support.
Yes, you know, they started with 7. They were one of the stronger. They took it on. They closed the gap when Van Eyroy went. You know, they've lost pretty much all their team, and I know that Longo Borghini is quite happy to look after herself in this situation. She likes to go long as well, so she doesn't mind. But like you said, she'll have to do pretty much most of it on her own now.
Well, I've got to say that Elise Chabet has got 2 riders up the road, which is a great gift. France would like to have something similar. Thank you very much. And of course, that drive starts now for France. What have you got? Well, mood music maybe, and Evita Mujic has indeed started to set the tempo of the final approach here. The Netherlands want to be involved. They don't want Mujic to go up the road and offer up good support. So it is that France are indeed in dictatorial role, and look at some of the big names that find themselves out of position right now. This is fascinating. That's Labousse back here, who did a lot of work a little bit earlier on. This seems to be a regathering, but look at this. Demi Vollering is back here. So, indeed, as well, is Özge Ziegert, and we've got some real strength, have set sail. They've left the dockside, and they're about to turn on all of the outboards. Let's go.
Yeah, it seems to be some of the kind of A-listers are looking at each other.
Yeah.
Some of their teammates going down the road now. It doesn't look as if this kind of main group behind, they've just detached themselves around the front of the peloton, are really interested in kind of helping each other. So it's a very interesting and balanced part of the race today.
I think Valier is part of that group for Canada. If that's the case, that is a very strong rider that could almost end up as a limpet mine within this flotilla.
Switzerland have got another rider in this group. They had 5 riders at the start. They've got 1 in front with Ruig. They've got Lichty in the chasing group of 2, and now they've got another rider in here.
I'm not sure if it's Chabet. If it is, they are in a very fine place. There is had to be a response. It's too strong up front. They didn't want this one to go away from them, and Ugstedt is there for Norway as well. She indeed decides to stamp on the pedals, doesn't want to miss out. Everyone knows that this is the danger. It's deliverable from this distance. They all know it, and we're just coming up and around for that descent to the cobbles, and then take us up to the start-finish line of our laps. And look at this, Marcos Maliotti, Kalori, Muzic, Garcia is part of this group as well. So Spain again, but Marcus up there. Fisher Black, Niedermeyer of Germany, and Valier of Canada. Wow, this is a fighting force, Brian. It's dangerous.
It is, but just look at Marcus at the back there, the Dutch rider. She's not contributing. I did think that, you know, this was maybe kind of running away from the Dutch a little bit. They weren't in control. Now we've got, 12 riders in front, with Marcus pretty much on their own. Not ideal for them, but I tell you what, for the Swiss, they're playing a blinder at the moment.
Absolutely superb. That's Chabet who's just marking out that last move. Maybe she wants a tow rope over. Elise Chabet. Well, she loves short, steep climbs, and on the last 2 occasions she's been top 10 as Elise Chabet. In fact, looking at Kaluri, but Chabet is the one that marked out from the main group of favourites just behind. So she's wise to the moves, part of the battle plan, and she can push on. So she has a teammate up front, but at least Chabet is very much dialed in. I think the Swiss are playing a blinder here, Brian.
Yeah, they've got one rider in each of these groups in front.
Every one of them.
Australia now with Loretta Hansen on the front here, trying to kind of bring things back a little bit, make it a little bit easier for Amanda Spratt. But just look at the Swiss here. They've got, with Vass there, they've got Lichte in front, they've got Ruig. Kaluri is in the chase group of 8 riders, started with 5 riders, and already, you know, they've got 3 riders at almost the front of the race.
Absolutely remarkable. This is Ruig now that's pushing on. Doesn't necessarily need the help of Benito. Got a 19-second gap on her teammate Yasmin Listi, who's coming over with Blanka Vass of Hungary. Then a shorter gap, just under 10 seconds, to another group that contains Kaluri. And then amongst the favourites, they have got Chabet. What an amazing sequence of effective decisions have been taken by the riders themselves. They're not getting any help from the side of the road.
No, they're not, and I think we may see the Swiss riders here not contributing. Hansen leads on for Australia here. Let's see, because it's starting to really get serious now. 47 seconds back from the front of the race, but the riders in front are only 20 odd seconds behind. But the Swiss rider, I think Chabet, is sitting second place in that main group. She's rubbing her hands. She's got 2 teammates in this group. I don't think they'll contribute because Ruig is in front. But I tell you what, if I was them, I would encourage them to do so.
Yeah, exactly. I think Chabet could kind of look after herself. It's ideal terrain for her. She can even bridge this, I believe, anyway. 41 seconds to the front group, certainly to the chase. Now looking at the chase at 16, 17 seconds as it is. Here is Vass just about to be absorbed. Chapeau to her. She's been one of the big animators of the day, you know. Yeah,
just a little bit too early. You know, unfortunately for her, she did look strong today, but the 2 Swiss riders that were in front, it looked as if they're in trouble with that front group. Naomi 9, Fisher Black for New Zealand, looking good at the front of the race as well.
Meanwhile, it still goes on. This is Brody Chapman, who's actually really wrestled the bike to stay with this, just goes round Loretta Hansen. Meanwhile, out front, Ruig still there. Benito's managed to hold on. They're on this gnarly cobbled section. Once they've dealt with it, they've still got to do this twice more, don't forget, which is always going to hurt. Ruig doing a great job up front. Lichte now on her own as Vass has been absorbed. Meanwhile, chased down by a group that includes Kaluri for Switzerland. Well, it could be part of their master plan. Quite remarkable. And for everyone else, the Swiss time might be running out. Let's see, 31.8 kilometres from home. Notably, of course, for this group, which we're looking at right now, just over 500 metres from the top of this cobbled section. France grinding in, sitting in others. This is Van der Breggen towards the back. Just up ahead of her is Van Arroy, who was part of the breakaway push. Vollering looking strong round the outside, not wanting anything to get away from her, and still 31 kilometres to go. And just look at this chase group, and the easiest ride of all, surely for Elise Chabet, who's part of this chase down at the moment, staying attentive. She's got a teammate with her as well. All Swiss riders still active.
Yeah, Russo. I think in the chase group, you know, one of the Swiss riders is gone. So they've only got one rider at the front here with Ruig, another one of their teammates just behind. I think it might be Lichte, and you know, definitely Chabet and Russo. They're looking strong today, but I think the major contenders just sitting back for the moment. Come over the top of this climb, start to head towards the finish, and there'll be 2 laps to go.
Oh, Van der Breggen, that shows you just how tough this is. Van der Breggen, 2 times a world champion, and not this time by the looks of things. That is a toughie, Brian, to see.
It is. Twice winner, twice second, took a couple of years out, came back to the sport. You know, she looked strong, maybe not back to where she was, but she's been very, very competitive.
And again, this chase group here, just a modest margin back to the peloton, which can almost just be described as a group itself of fewer and fewer band members. Still got Niewiadoma in here, by the way, for Poland as well. This is looking absolutely spectacular. France trying to hold on by the skin of their teeth. Italy hyper diminished as well. France actually look great with great strength, and still we have Ziegert here for Slovenia, I beg your pardon. Good Lord, what a finale this is turning out to be, and what a day it is for Switzerland. Yeah, look at this.
Birakova still in there for the Ukraine, but I think the two in front will be joined quickly by this chasing group. They're only 8 seconds down, but you could see that Pauline Provence was just sitting behind her teammates. She's got a couple of teammates to help her. This is some of the riders coming up to join forces at the front, but these last 2 laps, I think, with the numbers that Pauline Provence has got, I think she'll wait to the final lap.
Niedermeyer flicks her elbow out from that chasing group, just beyond that duo going off your screen right now. And here we are. This has Marcus for the Netherlands, another great satellite to send up the road. Fisher Black for New Zealand. Niedermeyer is here for Germany. Valliere of Canada, who at the beginning of the day I was telling you that this had to be an outside hope for her, and she's just bouncing nice and comfortable on the barriers, as you can see, as part of the chase. Hasn't lit it up just yet. 2 laps to go by the time they cross this start-finish line. And right now, Benito gets back involved with Rug on her back wheel, just heading to cross the line, and we'll have a look at the clock, which tells you what the deficit is back to the chase. It's hardly anything at the moment. Crossing the line, Canada here. Valliere is there. Fisher Black just on her wheel. Tucked in as well for Spain is Garcia, and suddenly it kicks off, slightly misgeared on the attempt here that comes out from Italy at the back, and this is where the big names start to come and play, Brian. We've got that kind of distance. This is deliverable, but you've got to be in the right place. Is it the right time?
Well, she always wants to go early. She is such a strong rider, but Niewiadoma was straight on her, and you could see that Kim Lacourte with gel, she was just about to take that gel, but she had to react, and you have to react when Longo Borghini goes on the attack.
She's gone, Longo Borghini, in a good way, straight off and up the road. America also involved here, likewise just about everybody else. But look what it's done. It's actually cracked open the treasure chest, and there is a rainbow jersey to be found within. But some are indeed without the resources to make this stick. What a moment, Brian. 2 laps to go. Here we are.
Yeah, no, it's kicking off, and the Vollering was up there. I don't think it's going particularly well at the moment for the Netherlands. They seem to be in the back foot. This group has come back together at the front to make a group of 10 riders, which is significant. Longo Borghini has got a teammate here. This is why she's trying to come across to this group. But yeah, it's all kicking off into the last 2 laps of the World Championships here in Rwanda, and let's see what the others have got.
Let's see what they've got indeed. Rosa and Lichty up ahead, Kalori and Roig. Indeed, now we are just starting to dig in big time, and for those who have been found out, they've been found wanting potentially. Royakas Van Roy, Demi Vollering in a chase group with Rihanna Marcus further up the road, and it looks like we might get ourselves a bit of a regathering, but it could end up being a sprint this, Brian, the way that it is going. Because we are regathering our resources. A lot of the teams are. Some have burnt down their teammates. Looks like Ruyakas is at the end of her resources.
Yeah, it does. She's been kind of hanging at the back for the last kind of couple of laps as well. But yeah, it's a sit and wait. It's we could see that Longo Borghini, well, she's got a teammate in front, but she's on her own here. She's on the left-hand side. She did try there, but this is a few kind of hit and hopers. This is riders that have been distanced off the back and thought, well, if I stay here, I'm going to get dropped again. Why not just give it a dig?
Well, if you got it, spend it. and there's a few riders here that want to do precisely that. And as you can see, it's delivery time. If you've got anything left, you better go for it. Alarud it is, on a course, as I mentioned, that suits her brilliantly, has decided that she needs to get herself up front. And every time we say one of these names, Brian, they're known to everybody. They must have the big names in their head, because they're marking them out beautifully. It's a whole sequence of attacks that we're seeing now, right now. It's not going to stop.
Well, this is a part of the course that we said just earlier. This is Ella Wiley of New Zealand trying to go across. Of course, she's got a teammate just in front. I'm not too sure if she knows that, but this is the part of the course that, you know, is probably the easiest of the lap. And, you know, they're trying to take advantage of it. But you can see Longo Bergini at the back here with Pauline Perrin-Prévot. They're just sitting and waiting. There's a few of them doing this and, you know, playing that game of poker.
Well, here we are. Chapman is from Australia. Actually, is it Brody? She looked like she was struggling earlier on. Well, clearly she's refound her inner strength, which is fantastic. Alarud is here for Norway. Mentioned how well the course suits her. It's taken a while for her to show her hand, but they are here with that familiar sort of custard helmet the Norwegians have as part of their kit these days. And we continue to look. This is Pauline Perrin-Prévot of France as well. Norway would love to remind us of their greatness as well here. It is Brodie Chapman, you know. Yeah,
she was actually distanced on the climb. She came back, and when you came back, a little bit of speed, just thought, you know, why not?
Yeah.
There's no point kind of just sitting back to get dropped again in the next climb. So, you know, she's going straight on the attack. She was joined by Ella Wiley and Alarud just come across for Norway.
Well, time to dig in. It's Prince Albert of Monaco, of course, starting to think about World Championships themselves. Prince Albert's been a ubiquitous part, of course, of cycling. You can see him here. Meanwhile, Roy Calori, too, from Switzerland, is part of this group. Spain also well represented out front. And it's swollen to 10 riders, this. We remind you that we have Valliere of Canada. She's kept herself very quiet. Now watch her on the climbs, Brian, as well. She looks smooth as silk. This is Monsieur Lapartillon, our glorious leader here for the UCI, surrounded by the dignitaries from Rwanda, of whom we thank.
I never thought Bernardino was Rwandan. He's French. He was sat on the right-hand side of Lapartillon, but in the main group here, it's slowed down significantly. Look at it, wow. 125 and growing the whole time. And
gonna get cooked.
You could see that in the group in front, that there was a few riders just sitting there doing nothing, probably wondering what to do. And that can sometimes kind of hinder the front group a little bit. So Italy were represented in front with Malcotti, and Marcus was there for the Netherlands. They are not contributing at all.
They're going to miss out, Brian, because it's starting to get set. And Canada, with Magdalene Valliere, she took the Trofeo Palma, don't forget. Very, very good season that she's had, but she is very loud on this kind of terrain. And you know, sometimes it takes a rider to be matched. And that can reveal itself even to the contender. She's on the front at the moment. She wants to set the pace. That's how fresh she is.
The problem we've got here, you can see the Van Anrooy going back to the car. They are a little bit uncertain about what was happening here. Marcus, I think, is doing the right thing. She's not contributing. Neither is Malcotti of the Italian team. So it's gone up to 1 minute 40 seconds already. Labus is another rider that doesn't know what to do. So there are a lot of riders in front, 10 riders in total, with another 40 seconds, 39 seconds. These are riders that were dropped the last time, trying to make amends there. But there's some strong riders in here. You mentioned Mavi Garcia. Well, she's got Benito for help as well. So And Naomi Rugg, we've seen already put in a big effort. But even saying that, Carlton, with 10 riders, not all contributing, sitting and waiting and playing the teammate game, but 146, they've lost a considerable amount of time in quick succession here.
Massive, and it's hard to find back because you're either climbing or descending, Brian. It's not like where they can almost TT over on the flat. There isn't any flat for them to do that.
No, not at all. This is Sidrine Kabul. She's been doing a lot of work in this race, and we're on to this real kind of fast part of the course now, and I think France are starting to do something. A lot of the Dutch riders here, but we're all waiting for the orders from behind. This is the front of the race, but not everybody is contributing here. A lot of passengers. Still 146 is significant in the last couple of laps here, but still doable from some of the riders behind.
Do you know, in the pack are 4 from the Netherlands. Yes, they've got Rihanna Marcus up front, who's a great time trialist, might actually serve her very well, but she's got a problem that she's got some very, very strong riders around her within the front portion. And amongst the favourites, I don't know whether there's been a burn down of their ambitions, because with 23 kilometres to go, 2 minutes is a lot to make up. And if you start to push into the gap, you're going to be helping your rivals.
Yeah.
There's a standoff here, and here it goes.
Yeah.
Had to happen.
Van der Breggen's gone for this one. She was dropped. Look, 148. This is getting a little bit serious now, and I don't know if they're able to get any communication up to Marcus or anything at all. But the race is not over for these riders in this main peloton, but it's significantly harder for them.
Yeah. Dare I say it?
Some of them are back.
My view is that they are in serious trouble. Royak is back in here, called to duty potentially. Alerud is up front. Her teammate here, Ugset, is part of the favourites. Sometimes being part of the favourites does not garner your favourite status, and Van der Breggen was marked out of this. This is what I was saying, Brian. I think the winner is going to come up from further up the road, because they're neutralising each other's drive. They're not all going to work together because they've got teammates up front as well. It might be an unexpected source of our winner today.
Yeah, it looks like Italy, France, Netherlands. I'm not contributing.
No.
Danger in the front is Naomi or Naim Fisher Black. She's got a teammate here, but these 3 riders were dropped the last time. But it looks as if Anna van der Breggen, the most experienced rider in this race, is now starting to ride at the front of the peloton to try and bring this gap down a little bit more manageable.
Well, I think that can only be that she's working for Demi Vollering today, because if she's putting that kind of effort in, it's going to have a big cost. But look at the time gap, Brian, because this front group of 10, we're looking at the trio of chasers at the moment, which is Wiley of Australia, Alerud of Norway with the custard helmet, and indeed Brody Chapman as well here, the Kiwi. Meanwhile, further back down the road here, Wiley is the Kiwi, I beg your pardon. Chapman from Australia. You of course all know that. My mistake, apologies momentarily. Getting very excited about this front group, and actually starting to wonder what on earth can be offered up. I told you about Valliere. Here she is again, super fresh, and now starting to think about going on a long ranger. What sort of credentials does she have at time trial? Not the greatest, but she knows how to ride a lumpy course, and this suits her brilliantly, and Canada might make a steal here. 1:38, they found 10 seconds only, but that's in the last 2 kilometres by the peloton. They've got to get quicker, Brian.
Yeah, it was a reaction there from Mavi Garcia of Spain. She put a bit of a dig in at the bottom of the climb, took the Canadian Valères with her, and also Naim Fisher Black, and Marcus is in the back foot, but just look more importantly behind Carlton. You can see that the French rider and the Italian rider is dropped from the front of the race. I'm not too sure that information will get back that quickly, but we might see more teams starting to ride on the front now.
This is big news, what's going on back here. Because there's some very big names that have been found out by the course, I believe. Minute and a half with 20 Ks to go. Is that a bridge too far, Bert?
No, it's not at all. I think if the information gets back now to the French that music is now dropped from the front of the race, you'll get not only the Dutch team riding on the front, you'll get the French as well. So they'll start to ride and they can bring this gap down. We've seen it in many of the other races where, 45 seconds to a minute has been brought back in the final climb up towards the finish itself.
This test, nasty one, is going to be done by this chase in just over 50 k's, as you can see. But I almost think the crest is sometimes the most difficult to take. Here's Magdalene Vallier as part of this front group with Fisher Black, Nemo Fisher Black, and Mavi Garcia. That's a strong trio. I've got a lot of belief in this trio, and I think it's being, I guess, accentuated by the gaps that they're already throwing up. Here we go. They've got a minute and 45. They are working very well on a peloton that is losing. They're losing the answers. They've got the lexicon, but I'm afraid they just can't find how to, I guess, disseminate the messages that they're getting out from out front, which are few and far between, as we know in the world.
Yeah, they won't know what's happening. I'm not too sure if any of the team cars behind will be getting any of the pictures that we're getting. Some of them do, some of them don't. Of course, they're going through the pit area if they're getting any information kind of shouted up to them. But really, the Netherlands really on the back foot here with Marcus. Wasn't able to stay with the three riders in front. Van der Breggen now gone. Kerboer looks like it was now gone. So it's all for some of these riders, and how many other teammates have they got left to retrieve this?
Well, Reinier Marcus is part of the chase, but look at it, it's at a 12-second margin to these riders who are now working very well together. They're all thinking about a medal. They don't know what colour. Via sheer alchemy and force of will, they will indeed potentially turn bronze to gold. Let's wait and see. But picking a favourite on a day like this is very difficult. Even if you have three riders only in contention, any one of them can win it, because if they're still here, they have what it takes, Brian.
Well, it's the perfect situation, Carlton, because all three of them are thinking, well, if we can stay away, I'm going to get a medal. So it's a perfect scenario having three riders in front. 146 back to the peloton. Let's see what's happening there. But I really do think that when we go on to this cobbled climb up towards the finishing line, that we now have to see the main players come out to play.
Well, I think we're going to get it, but I think they might have left it too late to play their hand. There's elbows flicking out all over the place here, and quite frankly, nobody wants to come and join the dance. There are three up the road. I think they've got an amazing opportunity here today. Let's see if they can deliver it, because for everybody else, Benito comes through here. For Spain, she's got a teammate up the roads in Garcia. Now then, we are looking, that was in fact Benito, I beg your pardon. This is your trio, Garcia, Fisher Black and Vallier. And the chase is, well, there's a third chase here, but where is the peloton of favourites? Nearly 2 minutes now, Brian, they're done for.
Yeah, they're here. This is the group now, and it's led by France. But I think, just looking down the line here, there's, a lot of the teams are depleted. If these riders want to contend for the victory today, they have to do it themselves, because it's a lot smaller. It's very limited. So I think Pauline Prevent-Prevot, Nieuwendomo, Lacourte, they all have to try and do something on this climb up towards the finish, and Chloe Dygard is still there. They cannot wait any longer now. They have to contribute or go themselves in the cobbled climb, and I think when we get on to that, I think that's when we'll start to see strike out for glory for some of the riders that are left in that group.
I think it's too much for them. I really genuinely believe that we talked about those riders for whom this course absolutely suits. Vallier was one of those we picked out right at the beginning of today for Canada, and she's here. And you know, we haven't mentioned her much throughout the day, but said to keep an eye, and she's screened herself absolutely beautifully. And the same goes for all of the three riders that are here. I'd say Garcina's probably done the most work today of that leading trio. We'll see whether that's a deficit for her later on. Rainer Marcus would not have been the pick for the Netherlands today, but it looks like it's falling upon her shoulders because peloton itself is not listed.
All three of them are thinking, well, if we can stay away, I'm going to get a medal. So it's a perfect scenario having three riders in front. 146 back to the peloton. Let's see what's happening there. But I really do think that when we go into this cobble climb up towards the finishing line, that we now have to see the main players come out to play.
Well, I think we're going to get it, but I think they might have left it too late to play their hand. There's elbows flicking out all over the place here, and quite frankly, nobody wants to come and join the dance. There are three up the road. I think they've got an amazing opportunity here today. Let's see if they can deliver it, because for everybody else, as Benito comes through here, for Spain, she's got a teammate up the roads in Garcia. Now then, we are looking, that was in fact Benito, I beg your pardon. This is your trio, Garcia, Fisher-Black and Valliere. And the chase is, well, there's a third chase here, but where is the peloton of favourites? Nearly 2 minutes now, Brian, they're done for.
Yeah, they're here. This is the group now, and it's led by France. But I think, you know, just looking down the line here, there's, you know, a lot of the teams are depleted. If these riders want to contend for the victory today, they have to do it themselves, because it's a lot smaller. It's very limited. So I think Pauline Prevent-Prevot, Nieuwendomo, Lacourte, you know, they all have to try and do something on this climb up towards the finish. And Chloe Dijgaard is still there. They cannot wait any longer now. They have to contribute or go themselves in the cobbled climb. And I think when we get on to that, I think that's when we'll start to see, you know, strike out for glory for some of the riders that are left in that group.
I think it's too much for them. I really genuinely believe that we talked about those riders for whom this course absolutely suits. Valliere was one of those we picked out right at the beginning of today for Canada, and she's here. And you know, we haven't mentioned her much throughout the day, but said to keep an eye, and she's screened herself absolutely beautifully. And the same goes for all of the three riders that are here. I'd say Garcina's probably done the most work today of that leading trio. We'll see whether that's a deficit for her later on. Rainer Marcus would not have been the pick for the Netherlands today, but it looks like it's falling upon her shoulders because peloton itself is not listed.
She make it up. Unfortunately for Kaluri, I don't think she's going to make. About you know, what's happening at the front with Niedermayer joining here. I said it was perfect with three. Now there's four. Now there's a bit of kind of doubt. Well, one of us, if we do stay away, is not going to get that medal.
It might be five, possibly six. Switzerland, after being in such a fantastic position, just losing out now. But a quartet, yeah, somebody's going to be without a medal if they brought it home. Long way still to go, of course, and the possibility that Rainer Marcus could indeed get across. Looks like she's struggling at the moment. Kaluri might actually find hidden depths in a few moments' time as well, but she's just about to exit the cobbles, as you can see. But Niedermayer, what a ride by her as well to bridge over almost solo. She was very good in Glasgow, actually, as well. Let's remind ourselves, got herself a solid top 20 there on a very difficult course, but a German well, she can produce something special here today. She's got herself into an asking position. Minute 20 now, with 15 kilometres to go, so that's 10 Ks gone. They've found, what, 25 seconds in 10 kilometres. What else have they got, Brian, to bridge?
Well, I just say that the favourites have to come out and play. They still haven't at the moment. I think they might just be leaving it a little bit late now. I expected to see them pushing hard on this climb up to the finishing line, but for the moment they're leaning on the French and playing a waiting game. It might be too long a wait now.
This is a very dangerous marker that they've set down for themselves, really, and finally it looks like the wake-up call has got through. It's kind of now or never, but you know what, you can ask the body for something, Brian, and it doesn't always give it you back. Yeah,
no, they have to continue at this rate, and it's how much can they continue at this rate? That's the question. But it does look as if Marcus is going to make it 5 in front, and that could make a significant difference because she will not contribute, I don't think.
No, she's got a big excuse, and that's that she's starting amongst the favourites, but she might be the best of the Netherlands. Let's wait and see. They're beating the hoardings. It's the bell, Brian. For who does it toll?
Yep, still looking like this race is definitely not over yet. We get 5 in front. New Zealand, well, they've got Naim Fisher-Black, who's looked good. Mavi Garcia, well, for Spain, they could pull off a big double victory today.
That would be absolutely magnificent. Still battling is Gina Kaluri, waiting to see what the gap is. A definitive one it will be. Back to the group of favourites. Well, we've got some outsiders, not too far off our thinking points out front. But amongst them, well, who do you pick for a medal? And indeed, is it still too premature to start speaking in those terms? Kaluri takes the bell. Meanwhile, just behind, they're starting to grind themselves into the gap, and here we go.
Rosa.
Had to be. Somebody had to pick it up, and Italy now just starting to animate proceedings. They are now lit up, but is it all too late?
Yeah, Russa's coming here for Switzerland. They have been in the front foot the whole time. Then Longo Borghini, Kim Lacourt, it's all happening, but Russa, what an engine she's got, and she's gone off in pursuit, and she's only 1 minute and 2 seconds down.
Royce, a brilliant time trialist, and now she's setting her stall out. Can she possibly deliver something very, very special? Some that have just run out of resources from that favoured group right now. And I'm afraid that Ziggert looks to be one of those. Chloe Dygert alongside her just for the time being. Is it all too late? That's the big question, Brian.
Yeah, well, for Rosa, well, it's up to these 5 riders. If they contribute all the way to the line, then one of them could be world champion. But if they start looking at each other and playing that kind of waiting game, Marcus, if she doesn't do any work, then that's the problem. But Rosa, well, she's coming with a vengeance, isn't she?
Well, let's not forget that Roysa is indeed the time trial champion. I had the privilege of calling her home a couple of days ago. She was absolutely brilliant, was Marlon. Beat Anna van der Breggen, don't forget, and Demi Vollering. Both of those are now in her wake. And Roysa is setting the mood here, I think it's fair to say, amongst the favourites. But has she left it too late? That's the big question. The same question we've been asking of all the favourites, Brian.
Yeah, but I can't understand, what's happening here with the Italians. Malcotti is sitting on Rosa, but then Borghini, she's coming back. She's been dropped already. Surely she looked behind and go, Longo Borghini needs my help. This is what they don't want. As soon as they start to hesitate, which they're doing at the moment, then every chance is gone. They're running out of time at the moment. I still believe that if they started to come out and play and ride like Rosa is doing at the moment, they would stand a chance, but not when they start marking each other out.
Well, let's have a look, shall we? The peloton detailed at a minute, but it started to fracture, and this is brilliant work by Royce, who's had a fabulous time of things. Don't forget, individual time trial champion, so rainbow bands there. She also had a dig at the mixed medals there as well, and right now, is she going to bid for glory? She's got a lot of very quality riders up ahead of her, unfortunately, but she's possibly got the best chance among Switzerland. Chabet, I think, is still part of this group. I'm looking through, can't quite see her at the moment. Meanwhile, it is still a good vanguard of 5 that I think are still capable of taking the day that are out front.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're very capable. But look at Marcus, she's not doing anything. Whether that gets into the heads of the other riders, when you're in that situation, Carlton, you don't give 100%, and they still need to keep on giving 100%.
Roycer has found herself in a difficult situation. She's getting on for a 46 seconds down, and she doesn't want to do everything herself. Malcotti is basically saying, no, I'm working for Longo Borghini. I don't think Longo Borghini is going to be today. 54 seconds. I mean, the old rule about 10 kilometres doesn't really count on this kind of distance, and the way that this day has been ridden, nobody is going for it. They have decided no, Brian.
Yeah, the favourites are throwing it away now. Pauline Prevot at the back there. They're without teammates. They have to do it themselves. And by the looks of things, Last Saloon is on this golf climb. Look here, Rouser. She's catching Calori. Calori's going to give her a little bit of help if she can.
This could be absolutely brilliant for Switzerland. Marlon Reusser, who did a fabulous job in the time trial, well, now she can TT it all the way. Nothing from Calori. Reusser comes straight through. Malcotti stays with her. Almost got a magic carpet ride, you might say, but I don't think Malcotti has got the punch a little bit later on. She might have. She should get up the climbs better, but Reusser can take on those climbs. Super powerful athlete. Brilliant. And look at the chase that's coming up from behind here, Brian.
I think that looks like Kim Lacourt is coming across here, and what a victory that would be. The first African world champion. But yeah, it's all hands to the pump now. The French are come back, and they were dropped. They've now come back and trying to help out Pauline Prevot, but this is getting too close for comfort now.
Here goes Prevot. Now, we saw the long conversation that she had with Labousse. That's the tee up, and here goes Pauline Prevot. 11 kilometres, got a bridge 44 seconds. That's a tough ask. It depends who's on your wheel. And slotting in straight onto our wheel from Poland, Niewiadoma, who does not want to miss out on an opportunity. And there she is, rock solid, but rock and roll, you might say. Who have they got for company? That's the big question. And once again, Switzerland very much involved. Absolutely phenomenal ride as well. And it's Rug. Once more has actually found herself in a place where she might well indeed start to feature. Longo Borghini also now part of this big chase quartet, but will they share the duty, Brian?
Yeah, well, Longo Borghini, this is what they have to do. Niewiadoma, Pauline Prevot, and Vollering has made it across here now. I was wondering where she was. They have to commit. Any hesitation, it's gone. But just looking at the gap, if that's 36 seconds to Reusser, she looks super strong here. Calori, well, he couldn't even get on the wheel of this flying Swiss.
Allerud is in here. Labousse wants to come up and help yet again. Maybe help herself to a medal. But I'm afraid this is going to be potentially too much. Let's have a look. We're looking at the lead. We've got the 10K to go marker. They just passed by that. 5 riders here, and Reine Marcus may well have a brilliant opportunity here. She's got a super card to play, which is her joker is essentially that she's working for Demi Vollering, who's coming up right now.
Look, I'm really interested. We can't see them yet. I think it's Kim Lacourt coming across the Reusser here. If she can get across, there's another couple of riders with her. This is what, 32 seconds. Reusser is really eating into this gap. She went through the finishing line just over a minute down, but look at Kim Lacourt's coming.
Wow, now then, we have one heck of a finale here. What a way to draw this, indeed, women's elite competition to a close. We'll have the men's elite race for you tomorrow, we remind you. But 9.4 kilometres from home. And have they left it too late, Brian? That's the question, the eternal one.
I think the peloton have now. They haven't. They've kind of looked at each other. The French on retrieval now. I just thought that when Pauline Prevot went there and Longo Borghini came across and Niewiadoma, that could have been a fighting force, and then Vollering came across, and then all of a sudden it's been left up to Labousse, I think it is, for France. You cannot leave it up to your team. You have to do it yourself if you want to get back to the race. But 29 seconds now, 28 and counting. We're coming up to this penultimate climb, and it'll be really interesting if Reusser for Switzerland has been joined by Kim Lacourt.
I think there we are. Here's your chase as detail. We've got the lead. Royce is there. Lecourt detailed with her. So this now gets to be absolutely fascinating. Kimberly Lecourt, we remind you, is from Mauritius. Liège-Bastogne-Liège took a stage on the Tour de France as well. She's got to dig as deep as she's ever done. She finds herself just tucked in, but right now, out front, can they possibly catch them? I think the quintet might well have enough strength within their number. We still don't know what Marcus has got actually from that front group.
27 seconds now, Carlton. They've taken back quite a lot of time, 30 odd seconds. Rouser is really dialed into this. Shabby is with her as well. She will contribute. Kim Lecourt knows that she needs to get up to the group in front. This is coming really, really down to the wire now. 8 kilometres to go, 26 seconds. For this team, however, the group here with France at the front here, it could be a little bit too late for them.
Well, we thought that Switzerland may well have just missed time themselves, but Royce suddenly steps it up. She drives in, and she's got Chabet. Chabet's specialism is short, sharp climbs. Guess what we've got to deal with? And look at this, even the front group now is starting to think about it, and this is because Marcus won't work, and they don't like this one little bit. And they're going to see that gap start to dissipate. They're going to allow back in Malcotti, Chabet, Royce, and Kimberly Lecourt. Kimberly Lecourt, all the gifts may well come to her. This is madness, but they haven't got anything left. Come on, let's work together, says Garcia, and nobody wants to respond. Meanwhile, they're all sitting on Royce at the moment, but Chabet at the back of this quartet is the favourite right now to take the title. 7.4 kilometres. We've got a chase. We've got an uninterested front group here that are starting to lose heart, essentially. They've got to re-find it, and it comes down to Valliere, the Canadian, to reignite the pace here. She doesn't want to put too much in because she'll just guide others to the title. 5 they've got there. Niedermeyer, Valliere who's on the front here. Fisher Black in the vanguard as well. Garcia and Marcus. Meanwhile, chasing them down is a very, very strong group being led by the massive engine of Marlon Royce, who Elisa Chabet, great at short, sharp climbs, has now got a teammate to try and guide her in, and there seems to be no heart in the front quintet here to make it happen for them. 22 seconds now, they're going to get caught.
Yeah, it's nothing, is it? It's absolutely nothing, and it's this rider here, Rouser, the time trial world champion, doing all the damage behind, crossed the finishing line with 1 minute and 2 seconds, and has cut that back to 21 seconds coming up to this penultimate climb. Kim Lecourt, well, she's got what seems like the World Championships bands on her helmet. She'll be dreaming.
She will be dreaming. It's not those bands, but she can turn them to reality. And there it is that Niedermeyer just didn't have anything left in the tank. Also peeling out of that group is Rainer Marcus, probably to try and help Vollering to the best finish. I've no idea, but what I do know is that this is time for the release, and of course it has to be Chabet. She goes for it, picks it up, and guess who? She's got Kimberly Lecourt on her back wheel. This is Marcus having pulled the pin, and they're on it here. Chabet or Lecourt, you take your pick. Right now, whatever other tools you've got left in the garden shed is what you have to use right now. Valliere possibly seeing her chances dissipate, and this is where the drive happens, Brian.
Well, she's got rid of Kim Lecourt. She's on her own. Chabet, this is her bid for glory. Longo Borghini now goes from the main group. Might be a little bit too late. Newman Domo's there pulling for Van Prevot, and Vollering starting to grimace. I think this is a little bit too late for these riders, but can Chabet make it to the front before the top of this climb?
Yes, she can. She's been top 10 on the last 2 occasions. Will she? We're going to find out. That is the big one. This is Valliere back here, along with Fisher Black and Garcia, but let's see how this one pans out, shall we? That was the chase at 20 seconds. This indeed is the third chase group right now that are seeing everything just dissipate. The Chabet blown up. Let's wait and see. We are waiting to see the delivery here. 6.1 kilometres to go, Brian. So close.
Yeah, it's so close. It really now depends on these 3 riders here. Will they ride? Will they help each other? Vollering has gone now, so we got Pauline Prevot, the Tour de France champion, Longo Borghini and Niwi and Domo Finney coming across the top of the climb. Just looking over the top now, we've got 3. So we're back to 3, which is a better number than 5 because they can't meddle if they ride with each other. But where is Chabet? It says 21 seconds.
No, goodness me. Brian, this is a fascinating game we play. And quite frankly, just as you think that everything is written off, others come back and play the game. Absolutely remarkable.
They do. Good effort there from Kim Lecourt there, but it's not going to be today. Whether she can kind of hang on and get something out the day, we'll have to wait and see. Vollering is coming back. We're going over the top of the climb. Now Longo Borghini's got our teammate to help out Marcotti, but I'm just thinking it's a little bit too late with 5.4 to go. It looks as if the trio are going to fight out the finish, and it looks like it could be between New Zealand and Canada.
Valier, what's Mavi Garcia got? That's what I want to know. What happened to Chabet? Likewise, of course, our Mauritian here, Lecourt, didn't work out, Brian.
No, it didn't. She tried at the bottom of that climb to go across with Chabet. And Chabet lost her in the whale, but Chabet not closing this gap. 22 seconds, 23 seconds. Mavi Garcia is not contributing, but the other two, Valeris and Fisher Black, looking really, really strong here.
Valier has looked, we said it about 2 laps ago, amongst those up front, she looked the calmest. She's actually not followed everything, Brian. She's played this very, very clever. We're looking at 3 medals here. They've got 23 seconds, but they're under the 5Ks to go marker, and I still think they've got something left in the tank. Of course you do. You get reignited, don't you, when you're within sight of medals, and that's what we're looking at right now. 3 up is a very good number to be because you're all going to get something out of it, but what colour?
Yeah. That's the question. Mavi Garcia, well, she was slightly distanced. Now we see Chabet and Marcus. I think it's a bit too far, a bit too late for Chabet now. She may have had the numbers, but not today. We've got 3 in front, and they look as if they're going to fight it out for glory. 47 seconds back to the main contenders at the start of the day. I think it's too much.
Well, Chabet, she's good at peaks, but she's going to have to almost climb Everest, I'm afraid, if she's going to make it home. Niedermeyer is about to be caught, but this is all too late for the favourites, Brian.
Yeah, I thought Rouser done a terrific job there. Tried to launch Chabet, but unfortunately it's not meant to be. They're starting to look at each other. The favourites going into the last few kilometres here have counted themselves out of this. The world champion is either going to be Mavi Garcia, which I think is going to struggle on this climb, but it's going to be either 9 Fisher Black from New Zealand or Magdalene Valeris from Canada.
And once again, you find yourself as the contemplation of how it all slipped through their grasp is now being writ large on the faces of the French team. Here we are, we've got our medalists and they're shaking out the hams here, and Mavi Garcia it is that's done the least work. Valier looks the freshest, but Naima Fisher Black is potentially a master assassin. The rider from Nelson Down Under could well indeed make a brilliant steal, don't forget. She's had stages in the Giro in the past, the Tour of Switzerland as well, national road race champion, naturally enough. Still a youngster, well, she's going to have to dig very, very deep. Chabet as well, I still haven't written off belief, and look at this, they're coming back to us. Do you want a top 5 or don't you want a top 5? She's trying to ignite something in Rainer Marcus. They're going to be out of the medals unless they work together. Chabet knows that she can do something on the climb. This is a high-speed sexpert. She's not going to find 25 seconds, surely, in 2.4 kilometres. Final turn they come into right now, and this is to introduce yourself to the pesky cobbles, and Valier has to go long, and she does so. That's Garcia out of the frame, and I think that Valier's got this. Look at this. That is 2 bike lengths, 3 bike lengths, 4 bike lengths. She is powering away. This is for Fisher Black to try and just regather herself. Garcia's got to dig deep as well. She's struggling here. Still a long way to go. Fisher Black's a great climber as well. And still, Chabé now has been annoyed by Marcus. She's going to try and bridge, but it might be for a bronze medal. Let's wait and see if somebody just does not manage to hold on to things from out front. And Valliere it is. Valiant potentially. She has gone for it. She's got Fisher Black on her case, but at a bigger distance than perhaps we thought. Oh, and that looks like the champions' bands are going to Canada. She has gone here with 2 kilometres to go. Can she hold on?
She must have felt really, really good to go from the bottom of the climb there, and I don't think it's quite over for Fisher Black here. Mavi Garcia, we know that it was struggling before. Chabé is now within sight of a medal, but Canada, wow, this would be absolutely huge for Valeres to win this one.
Absolutely magnificent. He said you've got to ride clever if you're going to ride into the bands, and she's been there as part of the breakaway. She was also hiding herself. When she first emerged out of the pack, we said, look how fresh she looks. The Canadians may well have ridden an absolute blinder here. Don't write off Naima Fisher Black either. The Kiwi, well, right now, has she got the key to anything other than silver? Let's wait and see. It looks like Garcia has indeed been smoked, and I think may well indeed fall into the clutches of Chabé for indeed a bronze medal, which kind of feels like rose gold here at the Worlds, doesn't it? But right now, heading for the big stuff is Magdalena Valliere. She's been around a long time, but yet she's still only 24 years of age. She started building massive results in Navarra back, 4 or 5 years ago when she was still a teenager. Well, she's taken a big old step. Here is Chabé as well. The terrain should have suited her just the same way as Magdalena Valliere, who is going for this right now. She's increasing the gap, pedal stroke by pedal stroke. That's too big a distance, I would have thought, for Fisher Black to get back to her. Still, we're looking at the all of the medals on your screen at the moment, with Mavi Garcia still believing in silver.
Yep, and definitely a medal if she keeps going. She's looking behind. Everybody's on the last legs at the moment, and she's looking to see where Chabé is. Just to put this into perspective, Valeres has won one race in her career, one race, and it's Trophy Palma. This is going to be huge for her in Canada.
Well, Fisher Black still hasn't finished. There's a lot of foreshortening from this particular camera angle, but 1,400 metres for the biggest win of her career. And Maggie Valliere is coming home. This looks absolutely brilliant. She mustn't look back. She's just got to keep doing what she's been doing all race. She's kept herself fresh. She's kept herself ready. And more than that, strategy-wise, she's played an absolute blinder. Could Canada make the steal? This would be remarkable.
Yeah, we've already seen history in these championships, and this could be history for Canada. They have medalled in the past. They've had 2 bronze medals in the history of this race. Never won gold. This could be a history-making performance by our leader of the race, Valeres.
Here is Fisher Black, still not giving up the ghost, and still a little bit of a distance before she gets up these cobbles. Right now, though, it's Valliere has already gone and sprung away. Garcia's coming back. She's got to believe that in a two-up sprint for silver, she'll possibly have the advantage. Riders strewn all over the course here, just making the escape now. Fisher Black, who looked back and saw Garcia on her case, and is she running out of resources? The more powerful rider presumably is Garcia, but this rider here, Maggie Valliere, is heading for glory. She's got 19 seconds over Fisher Black at the top of that peak, and indeed she's starting to eat into this remaining distance. Only 600 metres less than that right now. She's going to do it, Brian.
Yeah, she definitely has. History's been made today by Canada, taking a gold medal. Bit of a surprise, but you have to say she's deserved it. She's looked strong throughout. She was one of the strongest in this group behind. And Canada creating history at these World Championships.
Absolutely remarkable. Magdalena Valliere is valiant. Absolutely superb. She's got an extended margin right now. There's going to be a great battle for silver just behind her, but Canada, the brave, is going to make this stick. Fisher Black is still holding on for silver here. Look back behind by Mavi Garcia. I think she's possibly just running out of some resources here, but the gaps are starting to narrow big time. But comes up to the final crest here, does she? Oh, Magdalena Valliere, absolutely valiant performance by her. What a final sequence she has produced for us. This has been absolutely magnificent. Canada, magnificent, bringing the maple leaf home, and will be swapping her national jersey, of course, for the rainbow stripes. The last 100 metres of what's been an incredible ride. Kept herself fresh when she needed to, and now fresh out of the box it seems. She's a world champion. Rainbow bands going to Canada. Absolutely superb. Chapeau to her. Amazing ride. Canada world champions, and now that Garcia just about picked it up for bronze. It looks like Chabet's just going to miss out on a medal. Fisher Black is just going to grind this one home. The 3 medals for the 3 bravest riders, it seems, out there, but let's wait and see. Fisher Black coming home for silver. Garcia is going to take a bronze, and so well fought for. They most certainly have been. That's your medals, done and dusted, and they almost fall onto the bars here as Elise Chabet, after a fantastic race by Switzerland, will come out just beyond the medals, dips her head, and indeed crosses the line for 4th place. There's absolutely no shame in that whatsoever. Canada have done it.
Guess where we're going next year for the World Championships? We're going to Canada, and we're going with a defending champion. Lift her off their bike, lift her onto the podium. What an effort there. Also history for New Zealand's first ever medal in the Elite Women's Championship with Fisher Black.
Absolutely remarkable race. Niederbauer coming in right now, and all the favourites wondering what might have been.
Yeah, just left it too late, looked at each other. They had to commit themselves and they didn't. And, you know, we got a bit of a surprise 1-2. When I say surprise, we weren't really kind of talking about, we're talking about this group of athletes here. But for Canada, wow. That's Alison Jackson, who won Paris-Roubaix, and I don't think she can quite believe what has just happened.
What an amazing women's elite road race we've just experienced.
We'll be dancing tonight. Alison Jackson will now put her little dances on our social media posts. Looking forward to this one tonight.
Well, you'd better believe it. Magdalene Valliere, world world champion. Kaiseniva Doma of Poland rounded out the top 10, finishing just in front of Wayne Anderson, who rode alone for Sweden. Franziska